Crapcom ransomware leaks, Resident Evil Battle Royale. What were we talking about earlier about companies that used to set trends now jumping on all the trends a little bit too late? Monster Hunter Rise hits to PC. A lot of the console fanboys were not happy about that. And politically correct business strategies and more. This one's the important one, the politically correct business strategies. Disclaimer, due to the nature of this story, we will not be providing links to the hacked data, but you can find it. You know it's out there. You know where to look. Some information on the contents of the archives have come via third parties, including Retard Era. Some files may have been translated by third parties and as such may not be accurate. The contents of the Crapcom ransomware hack has begun to leak online. I guess they didn't pay their ransom, did they? Featuring news on Resident Evil, Monster Hunter, and other games, along with politically correct business strategies. Now that's the big one, mostly because Crapcom has been pretending to have a comeback recently. Like, hey, look, we're all about giving the fans what they want. And then behind the scenes, they're already they're preparing the next great wokening. As previously reported, Crapcom announced to investors their networks experienced issues that affected access to certain systems, including email and file servers. We covered that previously when I basically made fun of Crapcom for having to pay for on-disc DLC. It's not as funny when you have to do it, is it, Crapcom? This was caused by unauthorized access carried out by a third party, but stated there was no customer information taken. Now, that's up for debate right now. Apparently, some customer info may have leaked. Ransomware hacker group Ragnar Locker declared they had performed the hack, locking Crapcom out of their own files and making copies for themselves. They demanded 11 million USD to decrypt 1 terabyte of stolen corporate data. It would seem that demand was not paid, as the group had begun leaking the information online. So far, 3 archives have been produced, 2 over 20 gigabytes and 1 over 10 gigabytes. Yeah, and now they're playing a game. Now, so first Crapcom was like, oh, you probably don't actually have anything. We call your bluff. So they're like, oh, okay, fine. We're just going to start leaking shit then. You can stop us anytime you want by just paying us. The contents of these files included confidential data, NDAs, business letters, banking statements, tax forms, sales reports, employee passport information, because they need that, and suspension letters. Today, Crapcom posted an update on the security breach to their investors, confirming they were victims of Ragnar Locker's ransomware attack. Well, we knew that. That was obvious for a while. Crapcom claimed that they had verified 18 pieces of employee personal information was obtained, along with potential of approximately 14,000 items of HR info and 350,000 items of customer and business partner personal information. Previously, Crapcom stated that no customer information was taken. Now they're saying, oh yeah, we may have leaked info on 350,000 customers. The latter would include Japan's customer service support and North America's Crapcom store and esports operations website. So that's for the business partners. The rest is customers. Crapcom further emphasized that none of this at-risk data included credit card information. Well, last time they said no customer information, right? So, just take that with a grain of salt. As those transactions are handled by a third party, the above numbers are also the maximum possible figure, as some logs have already been lost. Crapcom have begun contacting those who have been affected and encourage those who may be affected to contact them. Well, if you have a Monster Hunter account, I guess, may as well. So here's the games. Now, in addition, the archives include information about upcoming games and Crapcom's marketing strategy. It should be emphasized that some of the files are dated as old as current year -2, and such plans may have changed. Plans may also change thanks to this leak and the reception the news has. Oh yeah, now companies, this is actually a common marketing strategy. Companies actually do this all the time. Like, they leak their own shit just to see how customers react to it, and then they make changes based on that. So that they may not have intended to do it with a lot of this information, but you know damn well they're looking at how people respond to the various leaks. Resident Evil Village, or Resident Evil Village, Oh, okay. So that's no, never mind. That was the 8. Yeah. I was just looking at it real quick. I see that they put the 8 in there in Village. All right. Well played. Well freaking played. I actually had to look that one over. It's like, what the hell was I missing? Is set to launch on April of current year plus one on the Piss Poor and the Piss Nickel, with a demo coming out before release. Pre-orders were set to begin in January current year plus one, with a lifetime sales goal of 10 million. That's going to be hard, man. The game is designed as a Metroidvania, featuring twice as many unique enemies as Resident Evil 7. I'll believe that when I see it. There's also a DLC pack planned called Ethan's Drama. Oh, no one tell Ethan about that. Featuring a weapon accessory, alternate background music, a screen filter, and very hard difficulty. Wow, they're locking difficulty behind a DLC pack. Okay. The contingency for this is a digital art book instead. There is also a new Battle Royale multiplayer game, because of course, a Resident Evil game in development, dubbed Project Highway and Village Online, with pre-order bonuses for weapon accessories. It may be that this is an online component of Resident Evil Village. A VR version of Resident Evil 4 is also in the works, exclusively for Oculus devices. Fakebook was able to bribe them to release it only on the Oculus store. Wow, I guess no one's going to be playing that shit. But this one, a fucking Battle Royale multiplayer Resident Evil. Okay, I've listened to a few other people talking about this, and I think I have the perfect comparison. I think I know how this game's going to go. Another popular franchise recently tried this. Well, maybe not with Battle Royale, but with a different game mode that seemed to be popular at the time. What was it called? Let me think for a little bit. All right. Metal Gear Survive. How awesomely is that game doing, huh? This is the next Metal Gear Survive. A new collection of Ace Attorney games are also planned for the Switch and the Piss Poor. It features the first 3 games along with the Great Ace Attorney that was not localized in the West. So it's probably going to get fucked up. No release dates or regions were mentioned in the documentation, though a proposal for an auto mode was proposed and discussed younger players in Japan and in the US. I guess it's going to happen then. Monster Hunter Rise was originally meant to launch holiday of current year, but was delayed internally to March current year plus one. The game will have demos launching in January and March, though this may be a launch window for a single demo, and will later head to PC in October of current year plus one. Yeah, but guys, don't do this anymore. In the past, as a PC gamer, we pretty much expected this. We expected to get console games like a year, 2, 3 years after they released on console. But with so many simultaneous releases these days, if you wait that long to release the game on PC, we're already going to have moved on to other games. We're just going to completely forget that yours even existed. Monster Hunter Stories 2 was last announced heading to the Nintendo Switch in summer of current year plus one. The leaked documents state the game will launch in June current year plus one for Windows, PC, and Switch. Cool. And will support single-player, online co-op, and PvP. There will also be DLC expansions, free post-launch co-op quests, cosmetic microtransactions, and amiibo support. Because, of course, there's going to be amiibo support if it's on the Switch. 3 new games are also in development under code names. Project Guillotine is set to launch February current year plus one on the Switch. That's, you know what? That's a very, very small time frame for a game that you still have completely under wraps and hidden. And later on other platforms. Another project, Reiwa, will launch in May of current year plus one. Again, good job not hyping this up whatsoever. One of these new games is a multiplayer shooter called Shield. The game was set to launch September of current year plus one on PC, but instead a demo will release at the time to build a community ahead of the full launch in March current year plus one, or plus two, sorry. I was thinking from the perspective of, current year plus one, along with a Piss Poor, Piss Nickel, Xbone, and Xbox Series X. To build that community, Crapcom are planning to hire a popular streamer to play the game. The game better actually be good, or it doesn't matter how popular. Dude, PewDiePie played The Last of Us Part 2, but you see what that did for sales. However, Crapcom did lay out the risks of contract fees being extremely high and that the streamer will stop playing the game as soon as the contract expires. They cite Ninja streaming of Apex Legends as an example of this, causing the game's momentum to drop when combined with service issues. Yeah, fucking EA, when Apex Legends launched, they actually they had a very good launch. That they eclipsed Fortnite for a little while. It was looking like Apex Legends was gonna be the new top dog. They were gonna overtake Fortnite and PUBG. But then the streamers they paid off stopped playing it. It plummeted again. It was still fun though. People still kept playing it until they ran out of content because it was the same map over and over again, no new content. And eventually they added new content, and it was some of the most exploitative monetization scams I've ever seen in my life. So Apex Legends, I mean, it's not doing too well right now, last I checked. So at least Crapcom is doing something smart here. At least they're aware of what's gonna happen. So instead, Crapcom will focus on a large number of mid-tier streamers as opposed to one or two major ones. These ambassadors will have special bonuses. Oh, like what? Like they're going to have a fucking massive advantage in the gacha? You guys remember that? How it was pretty much confirmed that these fucking companies give streamers bonuses on loot boxes, so they have a much higher chance of getting the good shit, to kind of give the illusion to the average player watching them that, oh, hey, my luck can be that good too. And keep certain rights once their contract expires. The latter is designed to make them feel privileged and motivated to keep playing when the contract is concluded, turning them into someone who wants to support the game's community. Well, make an actual good game, and that might happen. Finally, the source code of Devil May Cry 2 and Resident Evil Umbrella Chronicles also leaked. And now the good shit. This is what we've all been waiting for. Business strategies and deals. This entire section is very bad. Along with Shield's business strategy, several business strategies for the future were laid out, as well as how other companies dealt with Crapcom. This includes Google paying Crapcom $10 million to bring Resident Evil 7 and Resident Evil Village to Stadia on February 1st, current year +1. That's the only way anyone's going to do shit on Stadia. Yeah, however, it should be emphasized that documentation discussing Village did not mention Stadia among its platforms. Uh-oh, surprise ruined. Sony Interactive Entertainment also paid $5 million for timed DLC and demo exclusivity for Resident Evil 7. Yeah, that's typical. Sony's been, that's the only way they've been getting anyone on their platform, is they have that with the PlayStation advantage. Entire game modes PlayStation exclusive for a year, which basically means forever, because within a year the next game's already out and everyone's playing that. And Spider-Man is exclusive in Marvel's Avengers, which doesn't really matter because that game's dead anyway. No one's playing it. Among the documentation includes a presentation on political correctness and advertising materials and how to avoid drama and controversy. And this actually really pissed me off because they don't care about avoiding drama and controversy. They only care about maybe not kicking the NPC hornet nest. But if their own customers get mad at the censorship and everything else, they don't give a fuck about pissing their own customers off. The only drama and controversy they want to avoid is the kind that's from outside of the company. People who've never supported them anyway, reeing at them. That's the only type of drama and controversy they want to avoid. And fuck the fans if that is the exact opposite of what the fans would want. Fuck them. I don't care about pissing them off. I don't care about causing drama and controversy among them. They're fucking idiots, right? They're blind fanboys. They'd buy our stuff no matter what. They might complain for a little bit, but these addicted motherfuckers are going to buy it anyway. And I said that sarcastically, but unfortunately, they're not wrong when they make assumptions like this, because quite a few of their fanboys fall exactly into what I just said. They might complain for a little bit online, but they'll still give Crapcom their money. People like us who won't put up with that shit, unfortunately, are in the minority. But thankfully, our numbers are growing at a fast enough rate that the companies are starting to notice. They're starting to feel this in their wallets. But let's continue. This includes avoiding the use of language that can be deemed as discriminatory or prejudiced, so literally saying anything, and will result in new guidelines for each region's PR and advertising material creators, and not to mention the content of the game itself. Even so, some of the documentation discusses what to do and what to avoid as though it applies to game designers, though this may be the result of how it was translated into English. Oh, we've seen Crapcom declining over the years and censoring their shit down to the lowest common denominator. Oh no, this will apply to the developers. This includes gender-neutral cosmetic options, only featuring certain ethnicities, or portraying them as unequal or stereotypical, and avoiding sexual or obscene language and jokes unless inevitable based on the context of a story or narrative. Correction, change the story and narrative if that happens to avoid it. You know they'll do that. Sexuality, alphabet soup, and whammons were also discussed. One slide features The Last of Us Part 2 and Shadow of the Tomb Raider as being positive examples of alphabet soup characters, and that such characters should be portrayed as appealing as male characters and promoted in the same way. Now they took this to mean, they took this literally. I mean, you saw Abby, and you were like, all right, we're going to have to make her indistinguishable from a male character, as appealing as a male character. And they did. They made Abby as appealing as a male character visually. Crapcom do note that certain regions view alphabet soup characters negatively, so get ready to censor in the Middle East, I guess. Meanwhile, Nintendo's Princess Peach and Zelda were used as examples of negative stereotypes of whammons due to being damsels in distress. Then never mind that they're usually pretty capable on their own. I mean, even going back as far as Ocarina of Time, maybe even before then. Remember Sheik? You guys remember Sheik's real identity? Yeah, I fucking thought so. If these guys even read the Wikipedia entry for Zelda's storylines, they wouldn't have said something this damn stupid. But whatever. What do I know? This is in spite of the image used for Zelda being from Breath of the Wild, where the character takes on a more proactive role. Come on, it's Crapcom. The presentation also asked to defer to the localizers of different regions and vendors to make sure certain content is appropriate. This was the big red flag. Crapcom is literally training their people in Japan to listen to the Western censors. Our Western localizers say that they don't like this here in the West, so I guess we're not going to do it anymore. And then they're going to wonder why their fucking sales are going down the toilet. Examples include Arab localization and content featuring pigs, and the use of Happy Holidays over Merry Christmas, and numbers or expressions that may refer to the Nazi part. Oh, of course they had to do the alt-right Nazi thing. Yep, you can't have like 1488 or any shit like that in there. Although this is actually a very funny situation where we just literally, if we troll these idiots enough, we can get anything deemed an alt-right Nazi white supremacist symbol. The 4chan did it with the OK hand sign. And these idiots knew that 4chan started this just to meme them, but completely unironically, they said, like, well, since some actual racists use it, we have to label it a racist symbol now. The presentation recommends characters that appeal to a wide range of people. Translation, you're not allowed to have a target audience. Everything has to appeal to the lowest common denominator. With male and female player characters being treated the same within a video game, custom characters should be able to have any haircut or facial hair and various body types. Yeah, they're going to pull a Demon Souls. Instead of male and female, it's going to be body type A and body type B. Sex appeal, such as bikini costumes or lewd poses and costumes, should be equal between men and women. Sounds good on paper, but let's keep that in mind. And serve a purpose in the context of the story. However, costumes cannot appeal to only one kind of user base, such as only one gender. Now, look at how this played out in practice. Not among Crapcom, but look at Mortal Kombat. They kept all the sex appeal and the skimpy outfits for the male characters, but completely removed that from their female characters. And guess what? They're going to be doing the same shit here because let's bring this back to Crapcom. So Crapcom used their own games as examples of this. While a shirtless costume for Street Fighter's Ryu was fine, our Mika's butt-smashing super was not. So you can have the male fan service, but you can't have the female stuff. Like Crapcom is literally training their people this way. And they're going to wonder why that they're going to be going broke here soon. Cases where an armor set in Monster Hunter World shows more skin on the female character were also seen as a bad thing. So guess what? That's going to be changing. Likewise, while Spider-Man Miles Morales was seen as a positive portrayal of non-white races, Street Fighter's DJ wearing a Rastafarian hat was not. So I guess they are racist against Jamaicans is what we can get from this. Yeah, rip good female character designs. That's why we're bringing our own back with Blade Devil. If you want good female character designs, you're going to have to go to the indies because AAA ain't going to give them to you. It should also be noted that while this documentation indicates a presentation was likely given, it is unknown how Crapcom have acted based on it. In the US, certain diversity and political correctness courses for businesses are mandatory under state law or provide incentives such as lower taxes. They went to the kind of stuff they were talking about. If the developers themselves weren't based in the US, this would be worthless to them. Similar may have occurred in Capcom in Japan, as a Western investor discovering no discussion on political correctness could cause them to create an outcry. Crapcom also recently produced a swimsuit Armika figure along with the Street Fighter Swimsuit Special Collection art book in current year. Yeah, they have a few departments that are able to get away with it. Like when it comes to figures and art books, in general, the reeing NPC hate mobs don't pay attention to, because remember, these reeing NPCs are not actual fans. They a lot of times they don't even know these figures or art books exist because no one complained about them on Twitter. The video games, however, they sell millions. People notice the video games, and the video games are popular. That's why they're being attacked. The figures and the art books are left alone because these reeing NPCs don't even know they exist the vast majority of the time. So they're able to get away with things there. But this part here, as a Western investor discovering no discussion on political correctness could cause them to create outcry. This is why you don't go with investors. Yes, it's hard, but build up your own platform, build up your own audience. If you have to, maybe you're going to have to do some things like what Yandere Dev did. Whatever you may think about him and his game, his business model is on freaking point. That dude has been milking that model for a long time to great effect. Now, you don't want to do any milking. You want to actually deliver what you promise. But that's you're going to have to do something like that. You're going to have to build up some hype, build up your own community, maybe put something out through a system like Subscribestar or crowdfunding, or do early access on Steam and hype it up. That's how Deep Rock Galactic started. They were early access on Steam. And make sure that it's only you and the customers. That's the important thing. Don't get any investors or shareholders or any of those fuckers involved. Because as soon as investors get involved, they now own it. They own what you're making, and you're just employed by them to keep making it. And these investors, when they make demands, you have to listen. Because otherwise they cut you off. All the money's gone. If you become dependent on their money, they own you. So a lot of times that's why you see these companies just blatantly make decisions that go against everything their fans and their customers actually want. And you're wondering why. And then when you actually look into it, they have an investor that's making these demands, and they get more money from that investor than from their customers. Look at Twitter, for example. I mean, it's not gaming, but Twitter is the perfect example of what I'm talking about. Twitter has never made a profit. Twitter makes all of its money from investors, effectively. I mean, they make a bunch from advertisers as well, but most of their money is coming from freaking investors. Like, they've never been able to turn a profit. So these investors, a lot of times, I mean, I think some of them may actually accept they're never going to get any of their investment back. A lot of them are like George Soros. All they care about is using the platform to push their agenda. So when you see these companies making decisions against their own customer base, it's because some big investor is pulling their strings, making them do it. And that's the situation Crapcom is in. They can get away with actually making what they want with figures and art books because the reading NPC normies don't even see those. But when it comes to their bread and butter, when it comes to the video games, well, they'd rather keep sucking the dicks of their investors and shareholders than giving the customers what they want, which will be good in the short term for them. But in the long term, once all their customers are gone and all the investors pull out too because they view Crapcom as a sinking ship, game over, man. Game over. I hope it was worth stabbing your own fans in the back for this.
Oh man, I am so excited to tell you guys right now that finally, after about a year of build-up and shilling, we have launched Blade Devil on Indiegogo, and so far it is doing so well thanks to awesome people like you. If you haven't backed it yet, then please check the links in the description and check out Blade Devil on Indiegogo. You will not be disappointed. Looking forward to seeing you there.